And hello again, boys and girls. Welcome back to our channel. And today we're going to be doing something a little bit different with Victoria 3. So I was aiming for a multiplayer game, potentially doing a stream, but I thought, you know what, instead let's do something a bit different. And so far I've been trying to play each nation to the best of their abilities, or to the best of my abilities, trying to make them as effective and healthy as possible and progressive and effectively become modern states. But this time we're going to try and crash our nation and drive it into the ground and make it as backward as possible. Why? To see what happens. So the main aim of this playthrough, which of course will be cut up so you don't have to see me just 5-speed it, is how badly I can screw up my country without, well, completely breaking it. And I intend to make it as backwards and regressive as possible. Unfortunately for Spain, this means that they have become the victim of this plan. There's no really reason why. I just felt like Spain would be a novelty, as I've pretty much played all the other nations at this stage, and I think Spain is at a healthy level to collapse and see how bad I can regress it. So let's begin. So the first step, like any good regressive country, is to completely destroy our construction industry. Why? So no one can build anything. The next step in our regressive policies is to increase our taxation as high as possible, so make sure everyone is poor as possible. So we're going to do all of this lovely stuff, and then we're going to lower our taxation down to nothing. The next step in our policy is to destroy our industries. Why? So no one has a job. And of course, no ports. Why would we need ports or guns or urban centres? Oh, I can't destroy them. Or government administration. Why do we need a government? This is going to be an AMCAP paradise. And there we go. And then of course our rural. Who needs wheat? No one needs wheat. Rice farms, of course, no one really needs them. Or food, actually. Especially in this game where this food just becomes more expensive. And everyone's in their subsistence farms. Good, good. Do we need an army? Not really. There we go. Lovely stuff. And construction, there we go. Nice and healthy. Now, the only thing we need to do now is increase our society. Why? To make it even more unhappy. And then, of course, we need to pass some laws. So the first thing I'm going to do, get the landowners in power. And the Catholic Church. Everything else can go swivel. And of course, the slave trade. So we're still making money, which I don't really want, but hey ho, it is what it is. Oh, already we're on the death road to revolution. Let's see how well that works out for us. You can revolt all you want. I couldn't give a damn. How's the quality of life? Oh, it's dropping very, very rapidly. Nice work. Good work, guys. Good work. Nice work, landowners. Next step in our master plan. Of course. And eventually I would like to go to isolationism. We'll see how well that works. GDP, of course, has plummeted. Make sure I haven't got any literacy or anything like that. We can't have anyone literate. We'll change that in time. This may be a short game, guys. I just want to see what happens to the population. If it goes down. No, it keeps going up. I mean, what is everyone doing? I have no idea. I guess they're all on the subsistence farms. Pity I can't make him government run. I wonder if anyone does support serfdom. The landowners support this. Wow, It's so much easier to go backwards rather than actually be civilized. And then, of course, all we got to do is go to our market and make all our goods. Expensive as hell. No one trade with us. A true eco-civilization. There's no actual cities whatsoever. There's no cities. I mean, there's one lighthouse. There's the one guy who's still living in the lighthouse. That's pretty funny. Everyone else, not so good. Good. Next are general rules. Bring back serfdom. They're a little bit unhappy about being literally enslaved, but apart from that, they're fairly, you know, they're just only a little bit miffed. They're just doing some mild protesting about the fact that their country's pretty much putting them back into slavery. I have no idea how you guys are living so well. I embargo everyone. Who's actually trading with me? I better not be trading with anyone. Yes. Egalitarianism is the way to go. We'll make sure everyone knows about equality. The equality we're literally depriving everyone of. Oh, there's 0 loyalists, so there you go. There we go. Alright, what production methods can I do? Serfdom. That's about it. Cool. Yes. Don't know why you guys are so fed up. Yeah, now that you've been enslaved, you're a fairly happy chap. That's right. Keep reducing the quality of living. Living standards are overrated. You would think this would just destroy my population. I mean, it's getting there. We're getting to the point where my population is no longer growing. Bring it back. Bring me back to peasants. There we are. So this is a tad unrealistic. You would think the population would effectively lynch me for going back about 300 years in the space of 3 years, but I guess not. I guess not. Oh, now you're kicking off. Took your time. Alright, first things first, let's slow this down. We can sway Portugal onto our side. What sort of government is this? What sort of laws do you have? Oh, you're civilized as well. I mean, this is perhaps one way of actually becoming a civilized nation, by quite literally causing a revolt in your own country. Well, what have I been able to achieve? I mean, I've pretty much killed off my population. Oh, now we're killing off our population. There we go. And finally our population is in decline. Our GDP is to the ground. And I've died. So, my mistake there was rushing the reforms too quickly. I could have potentially not completely died, but I'm quite happy with the end result for a short video. In the space of basically 3 years, I had more or less changed my country back into a backwards monarchy, and I'd reintroduced slavery, and I had 42 loyalists, so there you go. The only issue with this was, of course, the revolters, but that was only because I tried to rush through another reform. If I hadn't rushed through, I don't think it was hereditary monarchs, I think it was something else. if I hadn't rushed through autocracy, I feel like I would still be alive. But it seems like it takes an awful lot to have a collapse. That's the only thing I will say about this. This is just really a test run to see what I could do as Spain. I mean, I could have gone for a bit longer, but it's just going to be a short one to see what could happen if I just decided to destroy the country. And of course, as expected, I did have a revolution, but it took so much to actually get to the revolution that makes it a bit naff, really. You think what you are seeing in this is effectively a government destroy decades of Napoleonic warfare, revolution and political ideology in the space of 3 years. And the fact that it took so much to get a revolution is a bit of a poo-poo, really. You'd think that's at least some of the people would, once you've been emancipated, you are going to fight to the death to stay emancipated. You can't banish serfdom and then say 3 years later, listen guys, you know, get back to this, get back to your feudal hovels. It just ain't gonna work. Yet for some strange reason you can do this in this game and there's no issues. Now you think you'd have to fight like an F-off revolution or some big old like you think it would be worse than it actually is. But the fact of the matter is I had no industry, no economy and nothing really. And yet Spain was still able, the average peasant was still able to survive. Now this I don't like. I think if an economy gets hit hard and you have a large enough population, you should not have enough subsistence farms to actually be able to feed your population. Imagine today if we had a food crisis and our food was no longer sustainable and we had to start farming off our own land. The population would collapse, and this game does not simulate this very well. In fact, it simulates it very badly because A, you get exports, or B, they just go to subsistence farms or they immigrate out. Now, immigrate out I can agree with. Subsistence farms I can agree with to an extent, but subsistence farms should be limited to a certain percentage of the population. After like a certain percentage of total geography. So if you're a small nation, you should only be able to have like 20 or 30 subsistence farms, and then the rest of the people either immigrate out, start kicking off, or well, starve. And in this case it just seems that the game does not simulate food crises or actual national crises very well. Instead you can go a very long time with this minor issues, when in reality if half your population is starving, that you're going to have a revolution very quickly. Of course I'm saying this with a revolution, but bearing in mind this revolution only came about because I ignored the revolution meter and rushed another policy. If I'd simply stopped and waited, eventually the naysayers and ne'er-do-wells would eventually have left, or I don't think that would have been much of an issue, especially if I was using my political power to suppress these political parties. So, altogether, what do I think? It was very easy to destroy the country without your country stopping you doing it. And the actual crises you are inflicting do not translate very well into the game. In fact, I would argue that I find it very irritating or rather annoying that the game does not simulate existential crises in a nation. You think if you, and this goes back to the Russia playthrough where I tried to become the grain exporter of the world and tried to cause a grain shortage. You can't cause a grain shortage because everyone just goes to subsistence farms. So they need to change the subsistence farm system, and they need to change this a little bit more to actually cause global ripples and global crises, which I think would translate very well into the game, especially if you move into multiplayer. If you have a big grain exporter, a big tools exporter, and suddenly the tools run out, or you run out of resources or whatever, that should extrapolate into a growing crisis, and the amount of effort it took to cause a crisis was a bit disappointing. This is a very short video. I was just rushing it. I was just really doing an experiment to see what I could do to destroy my country, and yes, I can. It's just very difficult to do so, and it's not as impactful as you think it was. It took a lot to reduce the population down or start a population decline, and it took a lot for revolution. when that shouldn't be the case, and that took a lot to collapse the GDP. But that's it, boys. Just go to show you what happens when you stress test the actual systems in the game. I still like Vicky 3. I know a lot of people say it's poo-poo. I like Vicky 3. I'm just waiting for actual acceptable multiplayer before I go to the multiplayer realm. But there are some underlying mechanics and systems in place that I dislike, and one of those systems is the fact that there is always a solution to a global shortage, whether that's in food or supply, when in fact that shouldn't be the case. There is always a limitation. We couldn't just build subsistence farms today because our population would not be able to sustain it. Yet for some reason I can build as many subsistence farms as I very much want to in my own country, which is pretty bad. I mean, I wonder if that's actually true. Can I change subsistence farms or stop them? Not really, and they all produce a base resource. I mean, could this be a cheese where you could literally just turn everyone into peasants? And not really, no, you don't produce a lot, but still. Anyway, let's take a look at my demographics. Did I actually end up with any slaves in the end? A little bit. 42k. But that's it. Thanks for watching, boys. I know it's a bit anticlimactic, but it was literally just an experiment run. And the experiment found me bored and irritated, but there we are. Next on the list, I think I'll play Resi 4, the remake, and then I will probably be away for a while. But thank you all for watching, and that was the glorious Spanish playthrough, which lasted all about 4 years. So, adieu.